The eighth chapter of Bhagavad Gita entitled Attaining the Supreme. So the eighth chapter begins with Arjuna's doubts, and the Lord is talking about how to escape death. Ah, how the Supreme can be attained in progressive life. And finally, the Lord is explaining about the message of Bhakti, devotional service. So today we want to focus, or we would like to do an overview of chapter 8. Try to just flow through uh, chapter 8. So attaining the Supreme, chapter 8. Mm. So in this chapter we saw the explanation of Yoga Mishra Bhakti. What is the process of Yoga Mishra Bhakti? The Lord explains that in text 8 to 13. Let's try to 10 to 13. Yeah, it very much comes within this section of Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Text 10. One who at the time of death fixes his life hair between the two eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this section itself, there is comparison with Omkar. It's that persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkar, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one can attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all the sensual engagement, closing the doors of the senses, all the doors of the senses, and fixing the mind and the heart, the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head, one establishes himself in yoga. Take 13. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planet. So, Prabhupada in the purport is comparing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with Omkar. Yeah. So, the chant, Prabhupada is saying the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra contains the Om. Then further it's described. Okay, so discuss how the statement a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavan by his devotional service reflects Srila Prabhupada's mood. Yes. So this comes, I think, in the purport of 814. This is Ananya Chetasa Satatam Yo Mam Smarati Nityasaha Tasyaham Sulabham Partha Nitya Yuktasya Yoginah. For one who always remembers me, without deviation, I am easy to obtain. O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So this comes in the second half of the purport. You see, Prabhupada is saying in the purport, the special qualification of the pure devotee is that he is always thinking of Krishna without deviation and without considering time or place. There should be no impediments. He should be able to carry out his service anywhere and at any time. Some say that the devotee should remain in holy places like Vrindavan or some holy town where the Lord lived, but a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavan by his devotional service. It was Sri Advaita who told Lord Chaitanya, wherever you are, O Lord, there is Vrindavan. So this is told after Mahaprabhu's sannyas. When Lord Nityananda guided Mahaprabhu to reach Shantipur instead of Vrindavan. So at that time when he's seeing Sri Advaita Acharya coming, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeing Advaita Acharya coming from the other side of the boat. That time Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking, how come so that is the time when Advaita Acharya is telling Lord Chaitanya. So then he says the comparison between the material world and the spiritual world. This is coming in text 15 to 22. Text 15 to 22. Yeah. So let's read 15 to 22. Text 15 is, after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, Brahma, Bhuvana, Loka, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who has attained to Maya Port, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Yeah, so temporary, eternal, and material world is a place of misery. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and also such is the duration of his night. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all the living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all the living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Yet there is another manifest nature, which is eternal and transcendental to the manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Yeah, parastasmat bhavan. That which the Vedanta is described as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns. That is my spiritual abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading, and everything is situated within him. So this is a beautiful comparison that how the spiritual world is infallible. Mm, yeah, yeah. So references to this come now explain how pure devotee's passage to the supreme abode is guaranteed by devotion. So in 22 itself, the Lord is saying here, the supreme personality of Godhead is attainable by unalloyed devotion. And Prabhupada is saying in the purport to enter Krishna's supreme abode or the innumerable Vaikuntha planets is possible only by bhakti or devotional service as clearly indicated by the word bhaktaya. No other process can help one attain the spiritual abode. So this is chapter 7, where we studied that how we can know Krishna in full by hearing about Krishna. Krishna is the sense of everything. The three modes are controlled by Krishna in 1314 we were saying. 15 to 19, four kinds of pious people who surrender and four kinds of impious people who don't surrender. 20 to 25 is on misplaced surrender, which is demigod worshippers and impersonalists. And 26 to 30, the bewilderment of the living entity and his freedom through knowledge of Krishna. This was chapter 7. Now, chapter 8, we are saying that Krishna is answering Arjuna's questions 1 to 4. Yes, 5 to 9 is remembering Krishna, especially to attain the escape velocity to gain victory over them. 10 to 13, the Lord is talking about Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Yes, 10 to 13 is Yoga Mishra Bhakti. 14 to 16, the Lord talks about pure devotional service. Then we are seeing the comparison between the material and the spiritual worlds in 17 to 22. And finally, so that attaining the supreme section, we are seeing it starts with Yoga Mishra Bhakti, then pure devotional service, 14 to 16. What is 14 to 16? 8, 14, 8, 15, 8, 16. Okay, so what is 8, 14? Let us see. Yeah, it is Mam Upetya Punarjanma, Abrahma Bhunaloka, and 814 is Ananya Chetaha Satatam. Yes, for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain because of his constant engagement in devotional service. 23 to 28, the Lord is speaking about the supremacy of devotion in attaining the supreme. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation. At the end of the previous chapter, the Lord mentioned knowledge of the seven items Brahman, Adhyatma, Karma, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yagya, and himself, Krishna. Wanting to know about these things, Arjuna asked questions about them in the first two verses of this chapter. Who is the ruler of Yagya in the body, and how should he be known in the body at the point of death? The sentence is completed in the next line of verse 2. Yeah. So Brahma, Adhyatma, mm, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yagya. So here text 1 and text 2 are related to this, and text 3 for Krishna answers Arjuna's first 7 questions. So, yes, so text 3 and 4, the the Lord is answering 7 questions out of 8, and the last question is answered a little elaborately by the Lord. Text 3 and 4. So text 3 is indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman. His eternal nature is Adhyatma, self. Action pertaining to the development of material bodies of the living entities is called karma. For best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is Adi Bhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and the moon, is called Adi Deva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented by the Super Soul, the heart of every embodied being, am called the Adi Yagya, Lord of the sacrifice. So Krishna is answering 7 questions, and then the Lord is answering. Uh, yeah, last question, and text 5 says that why that is a destination, and why it is important to practice remembrance throughout one's lifetime. And so one who is practicing, such a person can attain Krishna without. So 8.5 is the keynote verse there where the Lord is answering. Antakale chamameva swaram mukva kalevaram yaha prayati samadbhavam yati nasti sanshaya. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Srila Prabhupada explains the purpose here. Remembrance of Krishna is not possible for the impure soul who has not practiced Krishna consciousness in devotion also. Therefore, one should practice Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of life. If one wants to achieve success at the end of his life, the process of remembering Krishna is essential. Therefore, one should constantly, incessantly chant the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. This is 8.5 purpose. Kala Chamam. And then 8.6 is Yam Yam Vapi Smaram Bhavam Tajatante Kalevaram Tam Tamevate Kanteya Sada Tat Bhava Bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body of son of Kunti, that state he will attain without faith. One's thoughts during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thoughts at the moment of death. So this life creates one's next life. If in one's present life one lives in the mode of goodness and always thinks of Krishna, it is possible for one to remember Krishna at the end of one's life. That will help one to be transferred to the transcendental nature of Krishna. Okay, so now there is this exercise. Okay, what is this exercise? Divide the class in group of 3, each member either as A, B, C. Okay. Ask devotee C, be a witness only, to take notes. Ask the other 2 devotees to take the corresponding stances. Okay. What is the stance? Our internal activities are more important than external activities. What use is our devotional service if we don't remember Krishna? The subtle creates the gross, etc. And the other one is our external devotional service, what can't? This is the whole process, obedience. We bow down that even, okay, so we bow down even though we don't feel humble. Automatically, we'll gradually develop the right attitude and the qualities of the devotees. Oh, so this is internal versus external debating. Okay. So, but why is it debating internal versus external? This is okay. So this is internal versus external. Let's try and take up this internal versus external. Are our internal activities more important or external activities more important? That is the question which is being raised here. Let us hear a few arguments towards both sides. Who would like to share about internal state?
Hare Krishna, po.
Yes, sir.
Um, yeah. So actually, so whatever we do, it can be devotional service we have when we do with the intention to please Guru or Krishna. So anything do can be considered as a devotional service when with that intention we do.
Mm.
And anything if we do with the intention, we have motive to puja la pratishtha, name, fame, then it's a subtle or gross and gratification. I Yeah, mostly a subtle and gratification when we are doing uh, for name, fame, or all. So it's very important what consciousness which things we are doing, any activity.
Now, many
Thank you.
times uh, the question comes is that okay, how to develop that feeling? That feeling doesn't. The intention to that okay, I'm serving Krishna, I'm pleasing the Guru, the pleasure of the Guru. That intention doesn't come. That feeling doesn't come. What to do?
Yeah, feeling doesn't come, but at least we have intention to follow obedience. At least that intention we should have that whatever Prabhupada is saying, whatever our senior devotees are saying, to follow them. At least that intention should be there.
Hmm. So then we hear of the famous pastime that so there was this one devotee who joined ISKCON to chant, to read, to hear, to preach, and he was engaged in temple construction, and he was just counting cement bags, and he had no time to chant 16 rounds. So we just follow, then instead of chanting, we may be counting cement bags.
Yeah, yeah, it is okay that if Prabhupada wanted that, that is devotional service, then he guarantees. Even I heard from the devotees who were painting the pictures, they were not able to chant their rounds. And Prabhupada told them that I will take you, don't worry, you got it.
So here lies the entire problem that sometimes some devotees feel that to cultivate the mood, it is more important to spend more and more time just chanting, hearing, just chanting, just hearing, more of chanting, more of hearing, and more of kirtans. Uh, so, and external is more of obedience, but obedience means it can be anything. It can be as sensational as counting cement bags. The okay, so here is the comment. But the internals we don't have control over initially, and externals we can control. What we when we do the external, the internal is drag. Okay. Uh, Now and this kind of situation is there everywhere. Mm. Like I can tell one time we were so there was this Mayapur Yatra. Radhanath Maharaj was conducting this Mayapur Yatra, and then we happened to meet His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. And Maharaj was telling us, okay, I am going to Purulia. Why don't you come along with me? That's what Maharaj was telling. And I was telling, no, no, Maharaj, there is yatra going on. We will, so we like to attend the yatra, not this time. So then Maharaj told me, uh, very interestingly, Maharaj told me, what you will do just sitting down here. Better do some service. So that's what Maharaj told me directly. Like so. Now, if you are in this position, what would you do now? You know? So here are two, Guru Varga, personalities, very elevated, and so so we have learned. Radhesham Prabhu, used to tell us not to miss yatra, give it a very high priority. So here is Radhesham Prabhu saying, okay, not to miss yatra, and sit down. When Guru is speaking, you just sit down and hear, very attentively, focus. And here, is another Guru Varga personality, great soul, Maharaj, and Maharaj is saying, what will you do just sitting and hearing, better do some service just sitting down and hearing. What to do, what to do. So who would like to share what to do? Oh, he's saying first attend the yatra and then go for service. But Maharaj was going only on the days of the yatra. So there was no this option that any time.
Actually, we can ask Radhasam itself that this is the situation. What can be done? If we and he will be it will be pleasing to him that if he follows Bhakti Purushottam Swami Raj for service. Mostly, I think so. Yeah, that would be the case.
Okay, that's one good answer. Okay. Uh, who else wants to give throw some light on what should I have done?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So
Yes,
in
bro.
this kind of situation, because we will be in confusion only, so it is best to ask or take help from somebody. Otherwise, even any anything we choose, we will be in confusion. So if we attend yatra, then we'll remember I should have gone to Bhakti Guru Maharaj service. If we go there, we'll think I should have attended the yatra. So if we take guidance from our counselor or Guru Maharaj explaining clearly that this is the situation, then we will not have that burden. So we'll have clear cut path where
Mm,
to go.
mm. Correct. This is uh, so we can see here that many times uh, So we can see here that one aspect becomes very clear is uh, whether it is external activity or whether it is internal activities or internal state or external engagement, both should be on the tracks of obedience. Both should follow the tracks of obedience. Nothing should be uh, nothing should be uh, I know as many devotees are speaking this aspect. This principle is important, and nothing should be decided on an individual, simply on an individual. Therefore, you see, therefore, the obedience is not just engagement externally, but we do get instructions to uh, uh, to work on our internal state also, to work on our internal state also. So that is an important uh, so so therefore obedience is a safe way which ensures both sides. Many times uh, uh, if one simply keeps working on the internal, basically the sadhana aspect, then it may lead to indigestion. And if one simply keeps working on the external, it may leads to the fried out, dried out effect. One may run out of any substance and juice. So the path of obedience helps us to create a nice balance. Uh, helps us to create a very nice balance. So especially I would say uh, Radheshyam Prabhu would be very expert in that, and in general Radheshyam Prabhu would always Radheshyam Prabhu would be always in the mood of action, and the Radheshyam Prabhu would say that especially he would say to working devotees, the working devotee setups yoga centers. Radheshyam Prabhu would say that okay, in the yoga center, in the entire yoga center in the evening hours after 5 p.m. There no devotee should be seen in the yoga center. 5 p.m. to no 9 p.m. Nobody should be seen in the yoga center. Everyone should be out for preaching, or if someone has no place to preach or no place, then book distribution. Everyone should be out. Yoga centers from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And Rajam would say always only one devotee is allowed to stay in the yoga center in the evening hours, and that is Tulsi Maharani, no one else. So that was Aishampu's mood, and that okay. Uh, Students have a little different curriculum because they need to give evening hours for studies, otherwise they won't be able to manage it at least someday. So they need to have a balance. Uh, that some evenings they can go out, some evenings. But working devotees, Rajabhu would expect they go out every day for preaching. So that is now again, external activity. Okay, preaching activity, book distribution activity. Uh, so although Radheshyampu would always, expect and encourage us, to have that kind of dynamic orientation. At the same time, what Radheshyampu would do is that every month in Pune, uh, uh, every month in Pune, 1 to 2 senior devotees will become every month. In Pune. Some of the other senior devotees will be coming, Maharajas, great souls, some of the others. And whenever they would come, there would be, katha, there would be seminar, there would be talks, and then we would all get notification. Okay, please come to the temple to attend. So many times preachers would have a tough time. And they would say, okay, so many visitors are coming. I mean, so many visitors, preachers are coming. Then how to how to preach them? Almost every now and then, every now and then. But Surashapu would give challenge on both sides. You see, there is challenge on both sides. There is challenge of engagement. There is challenge of uh, uh, so one may say, okay, and there would be this dynamic tussle. See, suppose, say Yatra, for example. Now coming to Kartik Yatra, coming to Kartik Yatra means to make space for it and to be able to actually land there may require some struggle for some, especially working devotees, family devotees, working devotees, may require some struggle. Uh, but once one is landed in the Yatra ground, then next 1 week is a peaceful ride. Means just flow along, just coast along and flow along. Means it becomes easy. It becomes easy. So if you are one-sided, then it becomes easy. Like now say book distribution, book marathon. If it is said, okay, book marathon only one priority. Early morning, 8 o'clock out. Come back night 8 o'clock out. 12 hours. No one makes his mind. I'll be out. I'm out. I'm an outgoing devotee of the Lord. So once one makes one mind, I'm an outgoing devotee of the Lord. The mind is made. Then life is easy in one flow. Okay, outgoing. And in yatra we are in taking. I mean, in taking devotee of the Lord. So they are serving prasad, we take prasad also, we take katha also, like that. In taking devotee, outgoing devotee, like now. Twist comes in life when there is a dynamic reshuffling of both. So one is in full gear, outgoing preaching, MMCs, Sankalpa registration, and immediately in that it is to okay, Hari Bol, devotee, next 3 days, be in Kunj Bihari, and then one is at such a speed, how to halt? You know? So that becomes very interesting. So Raj Shampoo would very interestingly give challenges both sides, give challenges both sides. So gives challenges both sides. Like one time, so when Raj Shampoo introduced sadhana card, and he was selling sadhana card, everybody should get minimum 80% passing. Everybody was crying, but then Raj Shampoo said, no, 80% passing minimum. It's nice. But then devotees really took it seriously. Okay, 80% passing, we have to get good scores. So the scores were being put up on the notice board every week, and devotees wanted to hit 9 point. They wanted to hit a 9 point performance and all that, 90% in total and all. So uh, in the temple, the trend came that some devotees, evening 6:30 they would place their mosquito net, and 6:30 they place their mosquito net like that, and then they go for prasad. 7 o'clock only they are ready to sleep. Because they are going to get 25 marks. 7 o'clock, but because of some local lajja, there's some local lajja also. 7 o'clock, in many times. And no, it happens here in Boston. It used to happen in Melbourne. Some of the months, the sun does not set till 9 p.m. The sun only does not set. India, it's not so much like that. I have not seen at least. But here, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., peacefully the sun is on. Sun is on. They artificially change the timings also for daylight saving and all that. But the sun is on till 8 p.m., 9. How can one sleep at 7 p.m.? That is the question. Then they are coasting along somehow or the other, dragging on, inside the mosquito net only, and somehow or the other go on till 8:30, 8:40, 8:45, finished, I got to sleep, 25 marks, like. Then Rashamput took another class. This was full behavior self class. And Rashamput was telling, what is this? Lazy fellows, everybody, what is the use of that getting 90% and no service? So then devotee said, you only said no, 90%. Rashamput said, no, and full service and then 90%, and then 80%. And then this is, sorry, this is the very difficult. So Rasham will say, okay, you're supposed to sleep at 9 o'clock for 25 marks till 8:45. 9 o'clock? 9:30, I think. 9:30. 9 o'clock? 9:30. 9, yeah, 9:30, 9:45, I think. Yeah. Something like 9:30, 9:45. So suppose it's 9:30. Now say 9:45. So then Rasham said, till 9:30, everybody should be doing service. Only 15 minutes before you can put an alarm, Rasham would say. full on service, full mood, top 100 miles per hour speed, and then 9:30 the alarm rings, ta, 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 the alarm rings. And he said, as soon as your alarm rings, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just jump out from there, you know, and do a long jump, high jump, whatever jump, into your bed so that 9:45 dot you are, down after paying obeisances to sleep, ready to sleep. Like this is what he would say. Uh, so, so you see, the challenge is both ways. Prabhu used to give, and that is how we grow. That is how we grow. That is exactly how we grow. And therefore, uh, 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 it is important to flex our muscles, in that sense, tune in to the, to the rhythm of both, to accept challenges both ways. This way also and that way also. This way also and that way also. Then our growth is very nice and holistic. So, now, therefore, the Shastras explain that, a devotee in good health is actually, a good health. What is the barometer of a good health devotee? A devotee in good health is actually enthusiastic for both sadhana also, seva also. When seva comes, opportunity comes, immediately the devotee is jumping. Hari bol. When sadhana opportunity comes, immediately the devotee will jump. Hari bol. Now it says, now it is announced, okay, Prabhu's here, there is a wonderful association available tomorrow. Hari bol. The devotee should be enthusiastic. Okay, devotees, tomorrow is a marathon cleaning, 8 hours. Hari bol. There should be enthusiasm for both. One-sided enthusiasm is actually fleeting. It's self-deception. Enthusiasm can never be one-sided. So one cannot separate internal and external. Sometimes some devotees say you just do more sadhana and purify your heart, and not spend so much time in outreach or preaching or sankirtan. No, Prabhupada is not taught us that. Prabhupada has taught, okay, both ways one should be very equal. And let the senior devotees make a program for us. Make a program for us. So by the way, in that particular yatra, so after Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj said, I actually made full plans to go with Maharaj. Uh, uh, because I was feeling that okay, some days I've already attended, and then Maharaj is 2 3 days calling me. Better I can go. So I was all set to go, but just the day before leaving, I got full bad fever. Not able to stand. I was finished. So I don't know. Krishna decided something for me, but that it was bad fever. One or two, something like that. It was bad, but I was all set to go. I was all set to go with. So that was the point. So therefore, the prime principle we have to understand is obedience. But uh, hey, now the point is what? The mind will always want a comfortable situation. कंफर्टेबल सिचुएशन में तो क्या एक चीज होना चाहिए, बाहर जाना है तो रोज बाहर जाना है बस, और कुछ नहीं लाइफ में, नो, साधना तो साधना बस, और कुछ नहीं लाइफ में. So we want a very comfortable situation. Why the mind craves for it? Because when the mind sees a continuity of a very comfortable situation like that, then slowly what mind becomes complacent, and mind starts finding loopholes. And that's why, but when there is a shuffle and change, like that, then the mind doesn't get much scope to find any loophole, to create any complacency effect. So, so that is very healthy for us. Therefore, obedience is the healthiest algorithm. It's equal. Interesting. Hmm. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry on your prescribed duty of fighting. See, the Lord is telling you to a balance of. If their activity is dedicated to me, in your mind, and your mind and intelligence are fixed on me, you will attain me without fail. That's what the Lord is telling. This is 8.7. I was saying about uh okay, this is proper lecture on 8.1. This deity worship, this is the ultimate end of Krishna consciousness. That Antakale at the time of death, at the end of life, Antakale chamam unto me, eva certainly, smaran remembering. The deity worship essentially meant for this purpose, so that you go on worshipping the deity of Radha and Krishna. Naturally, you will be practiced to think of Radha Krishna always within you. You see, the services are meant to increase our attraction for the Lord. Prabhupada is speaking about. Okay, let's go ahead. How does this? Therefore, we have given time, 16 rounds, but you are not Haridas Thakur, that you will be able to chant whole day and night. If without working, if you chant, if without working, if you chant, that is a higher state. That you cannot do. Then you sleep, that's all. The minimum quantity 16 rounds chant, and that will not take more than 2 hours. Another 22 hours, you should be busy in Krishna's activities. That is required. This is called as upasate. The Prabhupada is saying that, okay, you chant a minimum of 16. Other times, you'll be busy in services because we won't be able to chant more. And artificially, we try to do that, we will sleep. The Prabhupada is saying, see here. So work is there, just like Arjuna. Arjuna is fighting. That is also Krishna consciousness. Ma manusmara yuddha. Krishna said, you chant. You remember me. At the same time, fight. He never said simply fight or simply chant. Because in the material world, that is not possible. Therefore, chanting must be there. Whatever. At the same time, you will have to work how to continue this movement. This movement requires energy. What a beautiful statement Prabhupada is saying. So Prabhupada is saying, okay, this movement requires energy. Give the energy. So we should be enthusiastic for carrying on the service. Beautiful. Sometimes devotees say, my devotional service is so difficult. I am unwell and I have so many problems. I wish Krishna would just take me right now. What would you say to such a devotee? What can you say about his or her attitude? Yeah. I am unwell. I have so many problems. I wish Krishna, thy devotional service is so difficult. What would you say to such a devotee? Okay, so what would you say to such a devotee? Who wants to say?
And take inspiration from senior devotees like Maharajas.
Okay. But somebody said they can handle because they were senior. I am junior, I cannot handle the difficulties. Then what do we say?
Then better to take guidance how to handle. Why to decide
Okay.
what oneself?
Okay. Uh, Better to take guidance how to handle. Yes. But then somebody says that, okay, but I know the solution, what is going to come, and I'm not able to follow that. Same solution will come, chant 16 rounds, attend Mangalarti, stay with devotees, but I'm not able to follow. Then what should I?
Actually, what we can say, Prabhu, Hariksha, bro. See,
Yes, sir.
yeah. What pleases Krishna is not the quantity, but our sincerity. So, what best we can do, what it does matters. So, even though you may not able to practice everything, yeah, because of your health uh, or physical or mental condition, but whatever you can do your best at your capacity, that will be pleasing to Krishna and the spiritual master. And best we can take for the best what you can at your condition, what can be best can be discussed with senior devotees whom we are taking guidance. And then well, then if we do best our best, then slowly we'll see the transformation, that how things are working in that way, and we'll get inspiration to do more and more.
Mm.
Thank you, bro.
The question is, my practice is so difficult, uh, so many difficulties. Why doesn't Krishna just take me back?
If we can't practice here, what we will do in Golaguranda? Because going there is more service. If we are crying here, there's more and more service. Except service, there is nothing else there. We have to do minion service so that our inertia goes off. We have to stay in devotee association. We do a lot of satsang. I don't think I'm audible because my is weird, but still fine. If we are doing a lot of asatsang, then our determination becomes weak. Srila Prabhupada said one of the cause of weak determination is more sensual life.
Yes.
So if we are not practicing celibacy or the regulative principles, determination will go weak.
Yes, by asatsang, by sensual activities, our determination goes weak. That is the sign. So the difficulties appear as insurmountable, will appear more and more insurmountable when we don't take the right, when we take materialistic association.
I was hearing
और
like this, Maharaj was saying, वो असत्य सत्य लगने लग जाता है, असत्य सत्य का नहीं मानी और सत्य असत्य लगने लग जाता है, ये विषय का संग करने का ये प्रभाव है.
yes, by taking by association of sensual people, our determination goes down and the difficulties start appearing really very big. Really very big.
इधर सबकी
So,
संसार लग गया भालो.
and sense gratification is also like that. So, Krishna consciousness, we have to understand, is a science. Uh, and it is an inconceivable science. Uh, it is an inconceivable science. So, therefore, trying to figure out how and when things will work out, better one should be engaged and absorbed. So, therefore, the acharyas are stressing on struggle. That struggle to keep up is very purifying. And we take shelter of the right sources, we'll get the strength. Definitely, none of us have the strength on our own. But the Lord is not. Uh, the Lord is not. The Lord is having the insurmountable stock of strength. The Lord can give us the strength, provided we take shelter of the right sources, take shelter of the devotees. Uh, then we can get that strength. So therefore, Prabhupada, so here the mind is always going to show difficulties, and Prabhupada would always say, what is the difficulty? Prabhupada will say always, what is the difficulty? Today only we were hearing, no, in the, no, so in the movement, there were so many, Prabhupada would always say, what is the difficulty? No matter what, Krishna consciousness should go on. Prabhupada even encouraged the devotees who were put into jail. Prabhupada said, no problem. There also you can chant Hare Krishna, do morning program, everything. So, and devotees in jail also, they were put in jail and then they were doing morning program, they were doing Krishna Katha, they were doing Bhagavatam plus the uh, uh, so the sentries, the cops, they could not tolerate these people inside the jail. They are excited because they were absorbed. So they released them. They said, okay, these people nothing. So they released them. So the point to note is that Prabhupada would always encourage steadfastness, that no matter what, one goes on with one's main business. So really Muktavinda Prabhu was telling, not 1970, 1968. This is November 1968. So Prabhupada had gone to LA, the LA temple. It was 6-story building and 3 stories were with the devotees. Uh, but then, but it was a business building, and then devotees would have kirtans, and that would be a bit disturbing probably. And then the incense, the aarti, so probably the air conditioner, would pick up the incense and pick up the cooking, all the fragrances or all the aromas and distribute everywhere. So 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 if some choka is done and then a lot of smoke comes and that goes throughout the building. So then the devotees got a notice of vacating that building in 1 day notice. And the owner, he said, if you don't vacate today, you won't get your security money back. It was so devotees had no option. So they packed everything. 1 day notice they had to leave. And Prabhupada was there in LA that time. So somehow they found one apartment and they shifted. I mean, they shifted Prabhupada and the deities. They can also Sundar Maharani in that apartment. and some well-wisher,
Elena,
uh,
Dayanand Prabhu is working there. He came to India and he did manage to-
yeah.
Mm.
And so there was this in Dayanand Prabhu's apartment. And then no, some well-wisher agreed to keep some Matajis, so they stayed there. Some others they stayed somewhere, and so they were all standing on the roadside along with all the luggage. And slowly, as and when something, no, some opportunity was coming, and some were locating here and there, and uh, but they were meeting every day, somewhere or the other, in the park,
Together
somewhere.
with
In the park they were meeting, here they were meeting, and then devotees were trying out, and some people, they were offering their garage for a program or an evening program, and everybody would meet in that garage and they would bring Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, no problem, we wanted a temple, and Krishna is giving us a garage for a day, let's have Krishna Katha and Kirtan, and glorify the Lord here. Like uh, uh, so you see, you know, there is uh, so there is no temple. Still, everybody is coming together every day, having morning program, evening program. That is wonderful. And then slowly they got, uh, and then the devotees are thinking, okay, we can live like this. But one day Prabhupada was real. So Prabhupada is encouraging, no problem, whatever Krishna is arranging, let's try to serve Krishna and preach from there. But one day, when devotees came to meet Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was angry. And Prabhupada said, how long will it be like this? We need a temple. We need a temple. And Prabhupada is chastising everyone. One person. Tamal Krishna Maharaj is also there. Uh, so within 3 days, devotees found a temple on rent. And it was a 1-story church with 3 big rooms and like and a beautiful building, but its rent was $500 a month. Huge rent. Uh, but Prabhupada said this will be very good for preaching. So then the devotees took that, and that became LA's monumental. I mean, that was like uh, a very powerful landmark when Prabhupada emphasized on having a big and powerful presence. 1968. So you see, struggles are there all the time, but one should take it up happily, understanding. Anyways, I don't have strength, so let me connect to Krishna and take shelter of Krishna, so that I can go on with that. So that struggle triggers us to take a deeper shelter of the Lord. That struggle triggers us to take a deeper shelter of the Lord and a higher and deeper dependence on the Supreme. Okay, let's read forward. Okay, so let's read this. So now this 10 to 13 is Yoga Mishra. Okay, 9, 10. Without the practice of yoga, it is difficult to withdraw the mind from sense objects. Without withdrawing the mind from sense objects, it is difficult to think constantly of the Lord. Therefore, one should execute bhakti along with some type of yoga practice. The Lord here speaks of such bhakti mixed with Ashtanga yoga in 5 verses. So at the time of death, that is prayana kale, with unwavering mind, engaged in bhakti, with constant remembrance of me as described above, the yogi attains. How does he attain unwavering mind? He attains the strength of his practice of yoga, yoga balena. The yoga process is thus described, fixing the prana in the Agya Chakra, Bhuvor Madhye, he attains. From verse 13, it seems that attaining the Lord means attaining his abode, attaining a distant relationship with the Lord. Okay. So then we come to pure devotional service, which is 14 to 16. Ananya Chetata Satatam. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. I was saying here, having spoken of Pradhana Bhuta Bhakti, that is Bhakti mixed with karma, Bhakti mixed with karma mentioned in Artho Jigyasur Artharthi, and with the desire for liberation, that is Janma Marma Marana Mokshaya, and also Bhakti mixed with yoga in this chapter, verse 9 to 13. Now the Lord speaks of Kevala Bhakti, that is best Bhakti. So chapter 7 use so Bhakti mixed with yoga is spoken, Bhakti mixed with the karma is spoken before, with a desire for liberation. Janma Marma Mokshaya, so 729. So the Kevala Bhakti is explained devoid of all material taints, which is explained now in 14 to 16. The mind of that devotee is free from performing other processes such as Karma Yoga or Gyan Yoga, free from worship of other persons or devatas, and free from other goals such as attainment of Swarga or Moksha. This is called Ananya Chetasaha, with mind not thinking of anything else except the Lord. He remembers me every day, Nityasaha, constantly, Satatam, not depending upon the appropriate time, place, person, purity. I can be easily attained by that person, by that bhakti. It is not mixed with difficulties encountered in practicing yoga, jnana, and other processes. He constantly desires association of me, Nitya. This grammatical form expresses desire in the future as well as the past. The person doing Bhakti Yoga. So, or it can mean the person who has a relationship with the Lord in Dasya, Sakya, the relationship. The Jnana Mishra Bhakta, referred to as Jnani in the enumeration of the four types, does not have a desire for material results nor for liberation. Therefore, he has not been mentioned in the previous sentence. However, the Jnana Mishra Bhakta retains some elements of Jnana process while practicing his Bhakta, and thus he is distinguished from Kevala Bhakta or Kevala Bhakta. Who performs only bhakti. The Prabhupada is saying here. The special qualification of the pure devotee is that he's always thinking of Krishna without deviation and without considering the time or place. There should be no impediments. He should be able to carry out his service anywhere and at any time. Yeah. So we had read this. Yeah. Okay. So we can take this question here as a homework. So now, what is the next one? After attaining me, the great souls never return to this temporary material world, which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection. Yeah, any event where you really felt this material world is miserable. So it's a realization. Let's read. Vrindavan consciousness. For example, my residence at Vrindavan, that is the place of Krishna, where Krishna advented himself. So now I'm in America in your country, but that does not mean I'm out of Vrindavan, because if I think of Krishna always, it is as good as being in Vrindavan. I am in New York in this apartment, but my consciousness is there in Vrindavan. Krishna consciousness means you already live with Krishna in the spiritual plan. You simply have to wait to give up this body. This is beautiful. So that is Krishna consciousness. Life. Krishna wants it, I must do it. I will not do anything for me. That is Vrindavan. All the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they are trying to fulfill Krishna's desire. The cowherd boys, the calves, the cows, the trees, the flowers, the water, the gopis, the elderly inhabitants, Mother Yashoda, Nanda, they are all engaged in fulfilling Krishna's desire. That is Vrindavan. So you can turn this material world into Vrindavan, provided you agree to fulfill the desires of Krishna. That is Vrindavan. So then there is comparison between the material world and spiritual world. 821, Prabhupada's saying, on this earth, Vrindavan, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a replica of the same Golok Vrindavan located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended on the earth, he sported on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavan, comprising about 84 square miles. In the district of Mathura, India. So, in lieu of time, I'll go ahead. In the last section, the supremacy of devotion in attaining the supreme. So 823 Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, you have said in verse 21 that anyone who attains you does not come back. But you have not mentioned about any particular path that the devotee must traverse. Since the devotee is beyond the gunas, this path is also beyond the gunas, not a sattvic path, such as going through the sun planet. But I am asking about the path taken by the yogis, jnanis, and karmis. I will speak about the path of return and no return that they traverse when they have died. Kala usually means time, but in this context it means past. Okay, so that's the end of. Okay, so what we will do is to see the translations of the text 23 to 28, and then we will. Mm, yeah. The Lord is telling, I shall explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world, the yogi does come back or does not come. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. According to the Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in the light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back. When one passes in darkness, he returns. Although the devotee knows these two paths of Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Veda, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So let's stop here for today. So this is a brief overview of chapter 8. Next class will begin with chapter 9, verse 6. Haribol. So Manadabu, good to see you. Haribol.
Sorry, Prabhu, I was a little bit engaged with the bank issues. So it took 1 hour more, so I could not join.
मणिंद्र प्रभु आपको प्रसाद मिल रहा है?
हाँ, खुद बना रहे हैं, खुद कुकिंग कर रहे हैं, फिर ऑफर करके ले।
Good. Nice.
मौसम कैसा है उधर?
ठंडा 0 डिग्री, कल स्नोफॉल हुआ था।
हमने ही भेजा था यहाँ से। ठीक है, ध्यान रखिए,
Okay.
भक्त बनाइए ताकि कुकिंग का टर्न आ जाए सबका।
हाँ वही।
हरिबोल।
Haribol. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada
हरिबोल।
ki jai.
जय।